All right, kid, here's the deal. Humans, for the most part, don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either. They're happy. They think they have a good bead on things.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
But how in the world in 2023 are they going to tell you we don't even know where it goes? Or at least they're claiming that. Or cellular uptake? There's no published studies on this in 2023. Endosomal escape, translation rates, half-life. So we don't even know how long it stays there. But take it anyway, safe and effective. I mean, this is just comically bad. And I don't know why the average person ignores this stuff. I mean, I do. There's so many people out there that are just so terrified that acknowledging that they got their family to do the wrong thing or that they're hurt themselves, or people are terrified or terrified to be wrong. I don't know. But the reality is specifically of synthetic mRNA, not just N1-methylpseudouridine modified RNA, but modified RNA in a general sense. Now it goes on to say, and then the other part I kind of rattled off at the last part was also the rates and duration of the vaccine-induced antigen expression, meaning they just don't even know. And this is the point we played many times from, I might have deleted it, from the clip where the FDA is openly saying that. No, it's right here. Here's a couple. There's two of them. And the point is that in the FDA meetings, they made it clear, we don't even know if this, how this works. We don't even know if the protection we're seeing, or rather the production of antibodies, actually correlates with protection. And we play this incessantly, and yet people still ignored it.
And then can you repeat the second question?
I mean, obviously you have a lot of data now. What is your correlative protection is? Everybody's measuring antibodies. They're probably relevant, but as we know...
That's a long question. We need a quick answer.
I would say there is no established correlate of protection.
Thank you. That was a quick answer. Dr. Fink.
Right. So we don't have a correlation of protection. We see antibodies, but we're not certain what that translates to in the context of protection. But we'll go ahead and slap a 90% effective on it because, antibodies, that's what happened. That was Pfizer speaking to a doctor who's been in these many times, asking good questions. And here's the other one, simply going, we don't even know how it works.
How should we think of micrograms in terms of the amount of spike protein that's produced by the cells? Can you kind of clarify that?
Obviously, we don't have a complete understanding of the nature of the way that the vaccine works in terms of producing immune response. Obviously, we don't.
That's just so crazy to me. I mean, you could argue that not much has changed, by the way, but the reality that ever in a point where that was happening, that they were forcing this on children, but we don't even know how it works properly. It says, furthermore, despite the assumption that there is no possibility of genomic integration of therapeutic synthetic mRNA, which obviously is the N1-methylpseudouridine modified RNA, only one recent study has examined interactions between vaccine mRNA, meaning the mod RNA in this case, and the genome of transfected cells, and reported that an endogenous retrotransposon line 1 is unsilenced following mRNA entry to the cell, leading to the reverse transcription of full-length vaccine mRNA sequences and nuclear entry. That's exactly the opposite of what we're being told, and still to this day, by the way, from all the Fauci types out there. It says this finding should be a major safety concern that everybody ignored, by the way, given the possibility of synthetic mRNA-driven epigenetic and genomic modifications arising. It says, we propose that in susceptible individuals, cytosolic clearance of nucleotide modified synthetic is impeded. Now, this is where we get into the point, the NMS mRNAs. That is the general concept for modified synthetic mRNAs. Right, so this, or rather nucleotide modified synthetic mRNAs. That's what it stands for. So what they're saying is we propose that in susceptible individuals, which frankly I find to be everybody, that these are impeded, the clearance of them. So this is exactly what we're finding. That not only do you just reference, which we'll read more in a second, that this does clearly transcribe into your reverse transcribe in your DNA, but also that this is showing you because of the modified N1-methylpseudouridine modified RNA, it stays in your body. It doesn't clear. which then means if you've taken many of these, there's a compounding problem here. And what did we just show that it does? Cancer causing everything else. And these, by the way, are also things that are making proteins that are causing illness and causing symptoms and causing shedding. Like, this is almost unbelievable that, one, this hasn't been widely acknowledged like to this degree, but on top of that, that this is, the more you read into this, it's almost impossible not to feel like somebody was, this is a weapon that was used or got out or was being tested. I don't know, but it seems like a weapon, which is not a new opinion. We were theorizing about that right in the beginning, but I still don't know definitively. But my God, it's made to last. It's made to continue to shed almost at the expense of the host, pretty much just like a virus, right? Or the concept of it. It says sustained presence of the nucleotide modified synthetic mRNAs. I'm just going to say modified RNAs going forward in the cytoplasm deregulates and activates endogenous transposable elements, the TEs, causing some of the mRNA copies to be reverse transcribed. These are peer-reviewed studies. You can read these for yourself, which, by the way, doesn't guarantee they could be wrong. But why is it being ignored? There's not a challenging study that's going, here's why you're wrong. They just don't talk about it right now. The cytosolic accumulation, because it doesn't go away, of the modified mRNAs and the reverse transcribed cDNA molecules activates RNA and DNA sensory pathways. Their concurrent activation initiates a synchronized innate response against non-self nucleic acids, promoting type 1 interferon and pro-inflammatory cytokine production, which, if unregulated, which is what we're talking about, leads to auto-inflammatory and autoimmune conditions, just like we talked about. While activated, it was transposable elements increase the risk of insertional mutagenesis of the reverse transcribed molecules, which can disrupt coding regions, enhance the risk of mutations in tumor-suppressing genes, and lead to sustained DNA damage. My God, it's just outrageously obvious. Now, here's the crazy part, going back to what it said. If it can, their concurrent activation initiates a synchronized innate response against non-self nucleic acids. What do you think they're talking about? The things you're being told to produce. This is why people like Cole and Dr. Peter McCullough and plenty of others have come out and told you, or even going back to the very beginning of this, saying this is going to cause self-attack. It's going to cause, like Dr. James Lyons-Weiler pointed out, PhD, it's going to cause pathogenic priming. It's going to cause antibody-dependent enhancement. And these are different things, but these are all similar concepts where your body is attacking itself. And what we're staring at is the obvious, at least in one part of this, example for why. That it's going to cause, and especially when you have a situation where it's accumulating and continuing to make more, the sustained synthesis was the word I'm looking for before, of the spike protein, or in this case, of the modified RNAs, it creates a situation where your body attacks what it sees as non-self nucleic acids, but that's what your body's producing now. Modified nucleotide, modified synthetic RNAs. I don't know, you could design a more specific weapon, right? How could you accidentally do this? I find that really hard to believe. Now it says susceptible individuals, and again, leads to sustained DNA damage. What that even translates to, I'm not even sure. What does DNA damage look like? You know what I mean? Like, this is something I have to research more, but the idea being that this is clearly a long-term issue that I'm willing to bet you anything is hard to associate back to this. It says susceptible individuals would then expectedly have an increased risk of DNA damage, chronic inflammation, autoimmunity, and cancer, all of which we've seen proven by peer-reviewed science connected to these injections. In light of the current mass administration of these modified RNA vaccines, it is essential, they finish in the abstract, and urgent to fully understand the intracellular cascades initiated by cellular uptake of synthetic mRNAs and the consequences of those molecular events. Gee, don't you think we should have done that before we gave it to billions of people? Oh! Just a thought. But they screamed about how we needed it at a time when you could prove this was less than the flu if it even existed at all.
1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. And 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.